Welcome to Hoop Heaven. Today, we talk top 5 worst contracts in the NBA. Starting things off will be Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets. Porter signed a 5-year, $207 million rookie max contract extension with the Nuggets in September of 2021. He was slated to be the third option behind Jokic and Murray, but has not lived up to expectations, never really taking the next steps in his development to become more than just a shooter. At 6'10" with a smooth jumper and decent handle, Porter was expected to elevate his game to the level of an all-star. That has not happened, and the ramifications of his contract has been major for the Nuggets. Because the resigned Porter, they have had to let key role players like Bruce Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope walk in free agency to stay below the NBA luxury tax. With a career average of 15.8 points per game in 6 seasons with the Nuggets, this is definitely not what they envisioned when they resigned him to a max contract, and the negative impact his contract has had on the Nuggets roster as a whole, along with the fact that I don't think they can move Porter in a trade without attaching future first-round picks, makes this one of the worst contracts in the NBA. Next up, we have Rudy Gobert of the Minnesota Timberwolves. On Tuesday, Rudy signed a 3-year, $110 million contract extension with Minnesota. Although Gobert is a 4-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year, teams seem to exploit his flaws annually in the playoffs, putting him in high pick-and-roll situations, or getting him into switches with guards on the perimeter. Teams have been able to neutralize his effectiveness in the playoffs for years now. Never know as much of an offensive threat. Outside of catching lobs in the paint, Rudy posts a career average of 12.6 points per game and 64% from the free throw line. By acquiring Gobert, the Timberwolves were forced to trade Karl-Anthony Towns to the Knicks to create cap space below the luxury tax, a decision I believe they already regret, as Towns is off to a blazing hot start in New York, averaging better than 25 points and 12 rebounds per game. Losing Towns, plus being almost unplayable in the playoffs, is why I feel Rudy Gobert is one of the worst contracts in the NBA. Next up, we have Ben Simmons. Simmons signed a 5-year, $177 million rookie max extension with the Philadelphia 76ers in 2020. Since signing the contract, Simmons has only managed to play 128 out of a possible 261 games. While making over $40 million this season, through 13 games played, Simmons is averaging a meager 5.3 points per game. He has never recovered from passing up that layup in the playoffs, doesn't seem to care about the game, refuses to improve his skill set, has never worked on his jump shot. We are tired of seeing the summer workout videos of Ben Simmons hitting jumpers, only to watch him airball layups during the regular season. The Brooklyn Nets are stuck with Ben. Luckily, his contract expires at the end of the season. I do not see Ben Simmons getting another opportunity with an NBA team. From being one of the young faces of the league, to a guy who is basically useless on the court, Ben Simmons fell a long way, making his contract one of the worst in the league. Next up, is Bradley Beal. Beal signed a 5-year, $251 million fully guaranteed contract, including a no-trade clause with the Washington Wizards back in July of 2022 before being traded to the Phoenix Suns to pair up with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Since signing the extension, Beal has missed 109 total games due to injury, and his scoring and efficiency numbers have taken a dive. After averaging better than 31 points per game in the 2020-2021 season, Beal's scoring is down to 17.8 points a night this season in 9 games played so far. The Suns gave up Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, 4 first-round pick swaps, and 6 future second-round picks to get Beal, trading their future assets in a win-now move to chase a championship. The Phoenix Suns have one of the worst benches in the league in terms of talent and depth, in large part to the Beal trade. Pair that with the fact he is almost always injured these past seasons, plus his no-trade clause, and you have a player that you cannot move in a trade, that depleted the depth of his team's roster. With 2 seasons left, and $103.8 million owed in salary, the Suns are stuck with Beal and no depth, making this one of the worst contracts in the league. Lastly, we have Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. Young signed a 5-year, $215 million contract to stay in with the Hawks in 2021. Although his numbers are impressive, Young has yet to make an impact on winning in the playoffs, or even making the postseason consistently. Last season, the Hawks finished with one of the worst records in the NBA and landed the number 1 overall draft pick. Young played 54 games, averaging 25 points and 10 assists per game. A cone on defense, Young is arguably the worst defensive player in the NBA. Due to his lack of size and poor defense, his value around the league has plummeted. set to be paid $43 million this season, on a team who doesn't look like a contender in the Eastern Conference. Young's contract is immovable, leaving the Hawks stuck with a max contract player who can't lead the team to success, can't defend, and can't be moved for assets without attaching one of your young building blocks like Jalen Johnson in the package. Atlanta will have to ride the contract out and hope the young guys continue to develop despite of Young's selfish play style and lack of defensive effort, making his contract one of the worst in the league. This concludes our video on the top 5 worst contracts in the NBA. If you like the content, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications as well so you know when we release more content. Thank you.